Vikings will have it first. Robert Tate on the return. And let's have a look at the Viking offense. Quarterback by a backup quarterback, Randall Cunningham, 3 times an All-Pro selection, twice the Player of the Year in the NFL. The big offensive line in front of him. Jeff Christie's the center. He'll pull a lot during the course of their offensive effort. Robert Smith and Charles Evans, the backs. Jake Reed, Chris Carter, and Andrew Glover, the tight end. We'll check the Lion defense in a moment. 0-0. Randall Cunningham, so many good years with Philadelphia, out of football 1 year. Started the last 5 games for the Vikings last year. Smith is deep. Cunningham drops. Pass complete to Robert Smith. Out of the backfield, about 7. Let's have a look at the Lion defense. The front 4, Waldrop, Ellis, Owens, and Forshea. The linebackers, Aldridge from Denver, Stephen Boyd in the middle, and Rob Fredrickson. Abrams and Westbrook, the young corners. Carrier and Rice, the 2 safeties. 2nd and 2. They got 8 on the completion from Cunningham to Smith. Glover on the move. 2 tight ends, and Cunningham under pressure.
I'll tell you, the Detroit Lions didn't wait at all. There's a penalty here now, but they brought Ron Reese, their strong safety. They brought Ron Reese, their strong safety, on a blitz on the 2nd play of the game. He got up there, and he was right on the line of scrimmage. You know, they always talk about 8 men up and what is 8 man. And, of course, anytime you get 8 men, it's always going to be that strong safety. And Ron Rice.
Of the pass on the offense, number 73. 5 yards, still 2nd down.
Bill Luckett, the referee, Stussy.
There's Ron Rice right there. You see, he's a strong safety, so that gives you your 8 men up. And, of course, Rice is coming on the blitz, and you see no one blocks him. They tried that, a tight end in the backfield. They tried to get him up there to get it, but he couldn't get him.
2nd and 7 after the penalty. Smith is deep. They go with 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. Glover was the man in motion. That's Smith. Looking for some running room, but the Lions had it shut down. This is only the 2nd time the Lions have worn these uniforms. Usually it was silver pants and the white jerseys, as you see.
Yeah, but even those socks. I mean, here's the blue pants, and look at those silver socks. I don't know that I like the blue pants, but I know that I don't like those silver socks.
Yeah. They look like dress socks.
No, I mean, there's something there that just doesn't go with the Detroit Lions and/or football.
3rd and 6. Palmer in motion. Cunningham throws. Pass caught by Jake Reed, and he might be just shy of a 1st down.
This is going to be very close, because unless Jake Reed got it right at the end, it looked like from up here when he caught that ball that he was short of the 1st down.
And he was on a modified comeback pattern, so if he got it, he just got it, as you said.
Yep,
he got it.
Yeah, that's one thing that they can really spread you out with good people, this Minnesota Viking offense. When they put Jake Reed on one side, Chris Carter in the slot, and then Randy Moss on the other side, I mean, they could cause some problems for you.
They're all big guys, all of them 6'3" or more.
It was Bryant Westbrook that they were working. I remember they tried to move Westbrook and Abrams, their 2 corners, and from right to left, and now they moved them back again this week.
Here's a 3 wide receiver setup. Cunningham fakes, bootlegs, incomplete. Intended for Randy Moss, broken up by Westbrook.
Westbrook did a nice job of breaking that one up, because that was the type of thing to put you in a bind a little in a corner when the quarterback goes on a bootleg and then he runs and he starts running towards you. Sometimes you have a tendency to want to come up to stop him as he's running toward you, but you have to stay back and stay in your coverage. And Westbrook did it that time.
3 wide receiver set up again. This is Moss that was on the move. And the throw is to Jake Reed again. And Jake Reed near another first down, knocked out of bounds by Mark Carrier.
What I like about Jake Reed is not only is a big guy, there's a lot of big receivers in football, but he's a strong guy. And you just see when he takes the ball that he just puts his hand out there and he just takes the defensive back and he just pushes him away. I mean, that was Abrams on that one. But I mean, he is, there's a lot of big receivers, like I said, and they're big targets and they're all these things, but there aren't a lot of big, strong receivers, and Jake Reed is one of those.
Back to the 2 tight end setup, and Smith gets the carry. And they move the pile up for about 4 yards. Rob Fredrickson made the stop.
One thing that the Minnesota Vikings coaching staff is doing a good job of, I think, is getting Randall Cunningham off to a good start. And I know Randall Cunningham is a 13-year veteran and all those things, but you want a backup quarterback. I don't care how long they've been in the league. They don't come in with a lot of confidence. And you want to get them confidence within the game and early. And the Vikings are doing that.
Denny Green looks like a different guy.
He's lost 65 pounds. Protein power, he says. That's what it is.
That blitz again, and Rice had in mind blitzing Cunningham, but he ran right into Robert Smith.
And that'll happen. That's an old thing. You just rest your passer, and on the way to the passer, you may find something. Ron Rice, that's the second time we've seen him. Here he is right here, and you see that he's up close to the line of scrimmage. He's not in the lineup. Watch him cheat, and boom, he hits that thing and times it perfectly.
They're lucky the Vikings are that there wasn't a fumble on that exchange.
Oh, because just as Randall Cunningham handed that ball off to Robert Smith, Ron Rice was there.
Moss in motion, shotgun formation. Cunningham can take off and will, and does. And bounces up close to midfield, shy of a first down.
That's the thing that the Detroit Lions remember last year about Randall Cunningham is his running. He started against him in the second game last year, and he gained like over 70 yards and
in 3 carries.
Right. And so one of the things that they say, we have to contain and stop Randall Cunningham's running. They did on this first drive.
Mitch Berger back to punt to Terry Fair, the Lions' #1 choice of this year. Back in April. Berger. And the ball bounds into the end zone. They'll bring it back to the 20. Scrambling Randall, no score. We're in the first quarter at the Metrodome. First quarter, the Detroit quarterback is Charlie Batch. Rookie, his first NFL start. In front of him, a veteran offensive line, Roberts and Tharp, the tackles, Jim Pine over from Tampa, the center, Hardings and Compton, the guards. Sanders and Corey Schlesinger in place of Bardell at fullback. Morton and Herman Moore are wide.
They want to get Charlie Batch comfortable, too. It'll be interesting the first play they give him.
Batch back to throw it. And here comes the rush. He had a good play call. To Barry Sanders, the screen pass. And Sanders, as only he can, turns it upfield. Orlando Thomas knocked him out of bounds. Randall, Williams, Ball, and Derek Alexander, the front four for Minnesota. Dwayne Rudd, Ed McDaniel in the middle, and Dixon Edwards. In the secondary, Jimmy Hitchcock, Orlando Thomas, Robert Griffith, and Corey Fuller. The defense of the Vikings and the Lions, the question mark. Batch, Sanders. How'd you like to dance with him and try to follow?
No, I would rather watch. I would rather watch Barry Sanders do anything than have to tackle him or follow him or catch him, or, like I've always said, a guy like Barry Sanders, and there's not a lot of guys like Barry Sanders, but great running backs are the guys that when they were kids and you were playing tag, they were never in. You could never get your hands on him to catch him, and he's no different now in the National Football League.
2nd and 4. Vikings showing blitz. Batch does get rid of it. Gets it out to Schlesinger just barely, who juggled it and dropped it.
And that was Dixon Edwards. He was coming from that left side. Watch number 59. He gets up in there and he hit that hole perfectly. There's Dixon Edwards right here. Now he's going to hit that hole perfectly, and he's going to come in there free on Charlie Batch. You see, he waits and waits, and he just splits that, and no one gets him. And I'll tell you, Charlie Batch had to get rid of that ball.
Now it's 3rd and 4. Quick count. Sanders. First down and more. Barry Sanders. Stopped by Orlando Thomas.
Yeah, this is the thing we were talking about earlier. The best friend of a quarterback is a good running game where it's not all in his shoulders. When you have this guy back here, here's Corey Schlesinger now, who's going to do the lead blocking for Barry Sanders today when he's in the fullback position. Here's a lead draw. Good block right there by Schlesinger. He's the guy that made the hole. All you have to do is make a little crease to get Barry Sanders through there. Look at his eyes. You know, you talk about great running back and feet and all that thing. They also have great vision.
Looks like Batch might be changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Back up, they tell Hitchcock. But Batch is coming this way with Sanders again. And he is across the Minnesota 40.
See, Charlie Batch knows now that he can get comfortable because he has Barry Sanders back there. And we talked about, you know, the Detroit Lions script their first 15 plays. So the first play they gave him was a pass, but it was a screen pass, which you throw behind the line of scrimmage, and it was to Barry Sanders, which isn't bad. And that'll get you in a comfort zone quickly, and then just hand off to Barry for a while. That'll get you started.
3 wide receivers. Batch to throw it. Incomplete. Johnny Morton had it right in his hands. They said, the Lions did. Coach Bobby Ross was telling it, Batch threw with a little more velocity than they're used to.
And he's going to throw this one as number 90, Derek Alexander, right there, is right on him as he throws the ball. He has a little more velocity, and he gets it out of there a little later in their breaks, they say. But there's no excuse for Johnny Morton not catching that one.
Velocity, break, or whatever. He should have caught that.
The ball thrown right in your hands in the National Football League, you have to catch.
3 wide receivers. Play clock down to 3 seconds. 2 down. Quickly to Herman Moore. And Herman, aware of where the first down marker is, gets it, and then ducks.
You know, Herman Moore was saying that he told Charlie Batch that, you know, no matter what level you play football on, whether you're in high school, you're in college, at Eastern Michigan, you're here in the pros, as a quarterback, you have to go in there and take over control of the huddle. He said, don't let any of those offensive linemen intimidate you, because they're the guys, they're always saying, no, 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 don't do that, change the count, do this. He said, don't pay any attention. It's your huddle, you take control of it.
Here comes the blitz. The Lions pick it up. Incomplete. Intended for Morton. Well covered, but the protection was good.
And it was a blitz. I mean, you can tell what the Minnesota Vikings are doing to him. They moved John Randall. You know, John Randall is usually a defensive tackle, and they moved him over to the right end to work on Ray Roberts. So here's John Randall, not at a tackle, but at a defensive end position. So that's one change. Then you see again a blitz. You know, and they're trying to bring the linebackers, but they do a good job. Look at how clean Charlie Batch's feet were on that throw.
2nd and 10. Sanders, the lone setback. Here's Batch again. Pass complete to Moore. Stopped by Corey Fuller.
You know, Herman Moore says it really takes like 3 different adjustments. One, you go from Scott Mitchell, who was a left-hander, to Charlie Batch, who's a right-hander. Scott Mitchell, who was taller, and you could see part of him throw the ball. Charlie Batch is shorter, and you can't see him. And then again, he said that Charlie Batch throws with more velocity, but he throws after you come out of your break. Scott Mitchell used to throw it before you would make your final break.
3rd and 5. Here's Batch to throw. Or he was to throw. He got the first down and more. He tried to slide and was hit by Torian Gray after he got the first down.
I tell you, he had Pete Dripowitz, his tight end, completely open. He didn't see him. He's going to be in the middle. If we can just run it back here, and if we just stop it here, watch right here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he just had a wide open receiver there, and that could have been a touchdown.
If he had been taller, I think he would have seen it.
Yeah, and he didn't see that, but the result wasn't bad. He got a first down anyway.
There's a Viking 16-yard line. 11th play of this drive. And a flag on the play. Someone moved after they got set.
Prior to snap, false start, offense, number 71.
Larry
5
Clark.
yards, still first down.
You can always tell it's the guy that walks like that with his palms out after he does it. Here's Larry Tharp here, the right tackle. But his body language says, you see him move right there? Now, the tight end can do it because the tight end, the end man on the line of scrimmage, and he can get up if he gets back and sets a second. That's why they called it on the tackle and not the tight end.
Batch, Sanders. And that's not something you see very often. Fuller made the stop by himself on Sanders. One man usually doesn't get him like that.
But here's the thing. I mean, one thing we know that the Vikings are going to go after Charlie Batch. I mean, they are going to go after it. And then the other thing that you know is you better not commit too hard to Barry Sanders. Just be under control and get a whole bunch of guys around him, because that was a heck of a tackle by Corey Fuller.
2nd and 13. Draw play Sanders. Away from one. But the purple gang gets there to stop him, led by Orlando Thomas.
Well, that's what Dennis Green was talking about yesterday with Barry Sanders, is that outside guy, and that time it was Thomas, has to get up the field. Because as long as you can keep Barry Sanders going sideways and not get square, you have a chance. You see, so as he comes here, you got to get up the field right now, right up here, and make him cut back. And now when he cuts back, now you get up the field again. You see, you don't let him bounce to the outside and square his shoulders.
3rd and 13. Batch drops the throw. High. Over the head of Moore. And that's got to be really high.
I would say that was pretty good. And I said that was a pretty good start by Charlie Batch. I mean, he comes in here. He's a rookie starting his first game, and he has to be nervous as heck. You know, so he comes in here, and I think that first drive, they get him in a field goal attempt situation, but I think that's going to have a pretty confidence-building and calming influence on him.
Jason Hansen from 37 yards away with John Jett holding the punter. Hansen with plenty of leg is good. And the Lions break on top, 3-0. They lead the Vikings at the Metrodome. Back at the Metrodome, the Lions score with their first possession. Moore and Sanders back to just gazed at. 2 key figures in that drive. Hansen to kick off again. Palmer will handle this one. A yard deep in the end zone is David Palmer. 21-22 maybe. Stopped by Marvin Thomas. 3-0. Frank Wright on the left and Charlie Batch. This week on Fox Saturday Baseball, the regular season comes to an end as the Mets face the Braves, while Sammy Sosa and the Cubs will be in Houston. Plus other action with playoff implications, as well as cut-ins for every Mark McGwire at bat. Coverage begins at 12:30 Eastern and Pacific on Fox. Check your local listings. First down, Minnesota. Randall Cunningham, the quarterback. Robert Smith, deep back. Cunningham going deep. Jake Reed just over his fingertips. And right now, for an NFL update, let's return to James Brown at the Fox Network Center in Los Angeles.
Pat and John, Brett Favre, Robert Freeman working on rookie Artrell Hawkins. He was victimized on that drive. 37-yard pass play for the score. Hack have answered back. Make that Robert Brooks in a score now. 7-3. Favre to Brooks. Back to Pat Summerall, John Madden.
At the Metrodome in Minneapolis. Second and 10. Minnesota ball. Smith.
Yeah, one of those things on that deep one that Randall Cunningham threw down there against Brian Westbrook. One of the things that Bobby Ross was saying last night, and he said it after the first game too. He said we have to stop the big plays. He said that we can play pretty good defense, we play pretty well against the run and the short stuff, and then they've just hit us with big bombs. Now Minnesota knows that themselves, so that one that they threw was the first one of the day, and we're going to see a lot of them, I think.
Third and about 5.5. Cunningham long count. He might have gotten him to jump.
He got a free play.
Pass intended for Palmer out of the backfield.
And that's exactly what that was.
Whoa.
They're going to say it's against the Vikings, so Randall Cunningham in trying to go to that hard count and trying to mix up the count, mixed up his own guys. And that'll happen more often than not. Yep, now they're saying that it's against the other guys.
He just pointed in the wrong direction. Phil Luckett.
Offside defense. Number 93. 5 yards. Still third down. Third down and inches.
Listen to what it sounds like and why you jump. See, the first time they hear that first, they're going to go. Now, isn't this the stance? Look at that. That's Randall McDaniel, and he does that on purpose. I mean, he thinks that he can start off and drive off better.
It looks like it would hurt.
Yeah, but he's been getting in that stance for so long, and it's made him all pro for so many years and gotten him into so many Pro Bowls that, he is one of the, and has been for a long time, one of the best offensive linemen in football, one of the best guards. He does it all. I mean, he's a good man blocker, he's a good puller, he's a good trapper, he's a good pass protector.
Needs a windshield wiper for that mask.
They put in a rule this year that those masks have to be clear masks unless they have a doctor's excuse or reason for have a tinted mask. They say that that's a safety issue.
The reason being a doctor's reason.
Right, that if if a player's injured and they can't take his helmet off, they want to be able to see through the shield into his eyes. But there are still some players, in fact, I think we have one in this game.
Yeah, we do.
That have tinted masks.
But you have to get special permission. 3rd and inches. Smith deep. And he gets the carry. Gets the first. Robert Smith has been somewhat of an enigma. Very talented, very fast, a long strider, but can't stay healthy.
Yeah, and it's really his running style. I mean, he runs straight up, and as you said, he's a long strider with speed, and he gives you a pretty good target. Where you take a Barry Sanders, all his power is low, and there's not much to hit. Robert Smith, in running straight up, does give you a bigger target, and then in a long stride, you can catch him a lot with his foot out of the ground.
Well, he's about a foot short. I jumped the gun. I said he had the first down. Not quite.
And there's no way. I mean, the fans are going to boo this, but there's no way that Dennis Green in that position on the field can go for it. And he went in there. We were just talking about Randall McDaniel, Todd Stussy, his tackle on that side. He ran into that side and didn't get it.
Terry Fair back deep for Detroit. Number 23, their #1 draft choice, University of Tennessee. They had a big win last night. Finally beat Florida in Knoxville in overtime.
They always have fast guys, don't they? I mean, it seems like any time a player comes out of Tennessee into this league, he has a lot of speed. Now, I'm not talking about Peyton Manning, but I'm talking about receivers and defensive backs.
Line drive to Fair. And a flag. He got a nudge. The up blocker, the first blocker he encountered. No way he could not block without hitting the guy in the back.
You know, that's what rookies, you know, take a while to learn. Even though they have speed, they have to use their speed to go straight ahead. And they can't spend a lot of time on a punt return going sideways. You got to get that thing going up the field as soon as possible.
That's a hard lesson to teach.
Oh, and Terry Fair was doing it, you know, and in high school and sometimes in college, they can dance around back there and find it and then use their speed and get big plays.
There is no foul on the play. The blocking question was legal. First down.
That's a new move. I didn't know what you were talking.
Woo! I actually got in.
You broke into personnel.
Yeah, these are salaries of every person in the company.
Look, this senior VP makes about half as much as this senior VP. I bet he doesn't know that.
Sure he does. I just emailed everybody in the company.
Who are these people? They go to the strangest places, work in the tightest quarters, and gladly keep the oddest hours. Who are they? Forever probing and prodding, digging, exploring. Who are these people? They are Texaco, and what they do is find the energy the world needs to keep on running. Texaco, a world of energy.
NFL Sunday is brought to you by Coors Light, frost brewed to tap the clean taste of the Rockies. By IBM, are you ready for e-business? By Visa, the preferred card of the NFL that's everywhere you want to be. And by Texaco, a world of energy.
It seems almost a shame to be indoors on a day like this, but a little later in the year, we'll say thank you.
Yeah, but today was good hitting weather outside.
Yeah.
I mean, this would have been a perfect day for football.
Charlie Batch, 1st and 10 for Detroit. Gives to Barry Sanders. They strung him out. That's the way you have to defend him.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And that's the thing that they've always said about Barry Sanders is that if you can keep him going sideways, that you can get some minus yardage, as you see here. 48 times last year, he lost yardage for 103 yards. And that's one of the things that the Lions are trying to do, to stop those kind of plays and make every play for Barry Sanders a positive play. And I think part of that has to be cutting back sometimes as compared to bouncing out. But who am I to say anything about Barry Sanders? He's the greatest.
Joy to watch. Here he is again. There he goes again.
That's the thing you can talk about. Oh, geez, he lost yardage on that play 48 times. So what?
Why would you change anything?
Yeah, I mean, you don't. I mean, this guy is the greatest. Here he is in the I formation. Corey Schlesinger is his fullback leading again for him, a lot like Moose Johnston. But all he needs is a little crease there. And then watch his eyes. I mean, he sees everything. He's looking straight ahead. He knows what's coming at him straight ahead. He also knows what's coming on the side.
Yep. And that's why he fumbles so rarely, because he sees everything. Here he is again. I beg your pardon, this is Ron Rivers, his backup. Sanders got a rest.
You see, in the first 15 plays, the Lions had 7 runs and 8 passes. Now, we know that they script the first 15 plays. So what we saw in those plays was really their plan to get Charlie Batch going. And you could see they were trying to get some balance. They were trying to, not just run Barry Sanders all the time, but come as close to 50-50 as you can, where you can keep the defense off balance.
Sanders. A spinning pickup of about 3. Robert Griffith and Tony Williams made the stop.
One thing, when you play John Randall at defensive end, as the Minnesota Vikings are, the Detroit Lions can stay away from them. And I think that's what they're doing. If you look at most of these runs, they're to Detroit's right. And John Randall, of course, is playing over here on the left side. And I think when he's a tackle, he's hard to get away from. When he plays end, you can run away from him.
That's the vote for the Lions intelligence. That's the end of the first quarter with the score Detroit 3, Minnesota nothing. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. The Minnesota Vikings nothing. Detroit ball just into Minnesota territory. 3rd and 2. Sanders deep. Batch. Good throw to Herman Moore.
Now, usually on a bootleg, and that was a bootleg for a right-handed quarterback, he will usually boot to the right. Now, Charlie Batch is going to boot out to his left. He's going to fake here and then come out on the bootleg to this side and hit Herman Moore over here. I think, a left-handed quarterback you expect this, but on a right-handed quarterback, you expect to boot to the other side. Here he boots out. Now, when you boot to your left, the big thing a quarterback has to do is get his shoulders square to throw the ball. Charlie.
1st and 10. Batch throws again. And to Moore again. Outside the 30. Fuller.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about what the Vikings were doing to Charlie Batch early, and you could see what they were going to do is they wanted to lay hits on him. This was his introduction to the NFL, but he really bounced back up. I mean, he's a tough guy. He has a lot of life in him, and they tried to get to him early, and they couldn't. So now Charlie Batch has the confidence.
So far, a lot of poise. Starts Moore in motion. Gives to Sanders, and Sanders gets to the 30. Robert Griffith on the stop.
Yeah, I wonder if somewhere the Minnesota Vikings will move John Randall back into tackle, because they've only really run one time to John Randall's side. You see him over there. He's playing the right end. And Barry Sanders, he had one big run in the middle, and his other runs, he's run 5 times so far to the right side. Oh, they're moving John Randall right now as we speak.
Moving to the left defensive end.
They're putting him over here.
Here's Batch. Incomplete. Intended for Moore.
Well, you can tell one thing thus far. If Charlie Batch has a favorite receiver or a go-to guy, he's staying with Herman Moore, which isn't bad. Herman Moore led the league in receptions last year.
I don't know if I agree with that philosophy of putting John Randall at one end or the other end so they can't get to him, they can't double team. They double team him, so what?
Yeah, I think a guy has to play his best position, and you just play. You don't try and find something for him when it's not there.
Hansen from 49 yards. Plenty far enough. And good. Jason Hansen gives the Detroit Lions a 6-0 lead over Minnesota. 12:15 left in the first half. Bobby Ross and Denny Green. Hansen to kick it off as the Lions lead 6-0. Palmer out of the end zone. Not much. 6-0. 2 field goals by Jason Hansen.
Here at VMI,
The NFC Central match between the Detroit Lions and Minnesota Vikings, led by Detroit 6-0. 2 field goals by Jason Hanson, who, by the way, has moved ahead of Errol Mann on the Detroit field goal all-time list. Eddie Murray is the leader. Jason Hanson now in second place. Smith is straight ahead.
Errol Mann, there's a name out of the past.
He played for you, didn't he?
Yes, he did. In fact, he was my kicker when we went. In fact, we played these Minnesota Vikings in Super Bowl 11.
Yeah.
Errol Mann was the kicker.
Well, victorious for you, Super Bowl 11.
If you're going to go, it's always nice to be victorious. Here's the guy they haven't thrown to yet, is Chris Carter. You wonder when he's going to get involved in this game.
Smith got some room. Flag on the play.
And that's right in the area of offensive holding, too, Pat.
Porcher made the stop.
Anytime you see a runner run through the middle and you see a flag go where the runner just came from, it's usually offensive holding.
Pretty good.
Holding, offense, number 64. 10 yards, repeat, second down.
Call against Randall McDaniel.
Yeah, and that was right where they ran the ball, too. So that umpire who was behind the offense, he's looking right there at Randall McDaniel. And then here comes the ball carrier. So that's how the hole was open.
Second and 14. The Lions do a lot of shifting around, moving people on defense, particularly the front four.
I tell you, the guy that you always have to watch out for is right there, Luther Ellis. He's the guy that gets the penetration all the time.
Cunningham gets it out to Andrew Glover, the tight end.
That was a good throw by Randall Cunningham, because if you see that, he's throwing to his right, and you watch, he's going to get hit from this backside right here just as he throws it. Right, see, he stepped to throw it, and he's getting hit just as he throws that ball. And you always think that, you know what it's like to be a quarterback and how they do it. They just don't stand back there uncontested when they throw that thing.
That was a good throw. 2 tight ends set up this time for the Vikings. And Smith gets the carry.
Watch it.
Robert Smith gets a little bit of room around the corner, gets out of bounds.
He needed a Canadian field. He just didn't have enough field. That's a new thing that running backs do now that they never used to do. That when they used to get to the sideline, they used to always turn it up, try and cut it. Now, and I don't know when this started, but now they just run out of bounds.
Well, it used to be when you turn it upfield, as you say, that was kind of a mark of respect.
Yeah, you would try and finish off the run because the guy's trying to finish you off.
Chris Carter.
Like this, then you can just throw that quick out. Just come out 5 yards and boom, just throw it out there. If Westbrook stays off Carter like that all day, they can complete that out all day.
They can throw a pass just like that. Chris Carter, 6'3", 220, 12 years, shows no signs of slowing down, except right now he's got a bad calf and a bad ankle. But it didn't appear on that last play. Cunningham to Smith. Tried to spin out of it. Outside the 40, picked up maybe 2.
The Minnesota offensive line on the inside run just isn't controlling this defensive front of the Detroit Lions, because every time Smith runs in there, it's like running into a wall. He did have that one play where they had holding, but they're playing right here. Watch Luther Ellis. He's one of the best run players, I think, on this Detroit team. And he just takes on a double team, and he just holds his ground. You see, now if you have that point held, then you can get convergence from both sides.
Outside to Glover, and Glover will have a Minnesota first down out of bounds at the Detroit 44.
Now, one thing I like about these Minnesota wide receivers, and that was Randy Moss on that one, is they all block. They block when the other guy catches the ball, and they also block for the running game. And anytime you see a big play in the running game, it's going to be because of wide receiver blocks, and the Minnesota Vikings have the best.
Minnesota on the move. 1st and 10. Glover stays in the block. Cunningham gets away. And somehow Chris Carter caught the ball. Somehow.
I think you're going to find that over the years, Chris Carter has done that more than not. He caught the ball, but they're calling it incomplete anyway. But, I mean, this guy just knows how to do it. I mean, he keeps both feet there and catches that ball.
That's an amazing catch.
Watch him. He has both feet there, and the only thing that I can say is they're saying that he didn't have control of the ball.
That could be.
He had his feet in bounds, and maybe they're saying the ball bounced when it hit the ground. But it was still a heck of a catch by Chris Carter.
Yep. He's been doing it so long. Cunningham to the tight end Glover. Banging off people. Right now for an NFL update, let's return to James Brown at the Fox Network Center in Los Angeles.
Pat and John, Favre and the Packers taking what's being given to them. That 29-yard pass play Favre to Freeman set up a 30-yard field goal by Ryan Longwell. Pack right now up by a touch. Back to Pat and John.
The Lions up by 2 field goals at the Metrodome, but Minnesota on the move inside the Detroit 30.
You know, we were talking about Chris Carter and getting to him and catching. Well, this is the area. We're getting down close to the area where he really excels, inside the 20-yard line.
Palmer. Cunningham was out leading the blocker. He didn't block anybody.
No, it was a form of an option play. They faked the trap, and that was an option play. And then they pitched it to Palmer. Watch this. This is pretty good. They're going to come in here, and they're going to fake a trap right there. Then they come down on the option. Randall Cunningham, after faking a trap, he just took the option right now, pitched it out to Palmer, and then he went ahead to block, but Palmer didn't follow him.
That's a play I have not seen before.
Well, that's one of those college wishbone option type of plays. But a 13-year veteran quarterback in the NFL is going to take the option very, very quickly.
Leroy Horde is deep. And Horde gets the carry. Caught from behind by Luther Ellis, who came around the corner and wrapped him up.
You know, and this is the area here when you really have an advantage with big wide receivers like Jake Reed, Chris Carter, and even Randy Moss. I mean, they're all big 6'3", 6'4" guys, and when you get down here, you try and get them working for jump balls in the end zone. I know that on one of these plays, either this play or the next down, that has to be the Vikings thinking.
That seems to be sort of becoming a trend in the NFL. The big receivers, like these three, like the 3 in San Francisco, like like Herman Moore, like Westbrook, over the head of Randy Moss.
Well, I think that they thought that they were probably going to go in the end zone, and they thought Detroit was going to think they were going to go in the end zone, so they were going to just throw a short one through Randy Moss's hands. I think when you get down here, if you're going to take a shot, you got to take a shot at the end zone. But again, maybe the corners are playing so far off that they just want to hit in front of them.
That ball might have been deflected. 12th play of the drive coming up. 1 for 3 on 3rd down. 3 wide receivers. That's Moss moving around. Cunningham out to Moss. Moss gets down inside the 10, about the 8. Stopped by Kevin Abrams at the 9. Make it.
Yeah, and on 3rd down, you got to throw the ball in the end zone, and if it's not there, you got to throw it incomplete. That doesn't do any good because this is the same as an incomplete pass. You still have to go for the field goal here. So you had a shot. And you had those 3 big wide receivers, and the Vikings didn't take a shot. So that really, if they make this, that cost them 4 points, or a chance that cost them 4 points. So they never did take a shot at it.
Anderson will try the field goal. Berger the holder. Anderson right down the middle. He made that look easy. Robert Smith getting a pretty good workout, and it's 6-3 Detroit.
If it takes
Metrodome. Detroit has 2. Minnesota has 1. got that one from Gary Anderson. 27 yards out. 13 plays, 75 yards. And it's 6-3 with 6:24 left to play in the first half as Berger kicks off. Terry Fair will take it at the 5. Fair outside the 30, about the 33 before he's down. Oh, another look at Charlie Batch starting for Detroit coming up. There's an angry Viking. John Randall, we were talking earlier, John Madden and I were, about where he lines up.
Now, he usually lines up at a tackle position. That's his normal position. He hasn't lined up there all day yet. He's lined up 17 times at right end and 4 times at left end. He's at right end right now.
Sanders down almost to one knee, but not all the way, and got a first down.
And they ran right at John Randall that time, and Ray Roberts did a good job of blocking him. Watch Ray Roberts here, and watch the hole that he makes. Here's Roberts here. He's going to hit in here and just take John Randall to the outside. See him drive. Now get that right leg and spin it on him, and just as Barry Sanders breaks through.
1st and 10 Detroit. They lead 6-3. Moore on the right, Morton on the left. Batch back to throw it. He has time. Now he's going to take off with it. And slides after about 8, and a flag on the play.
Yeah, and that's not a bad place. You know John Randall's going to get a lot of penetration on that side, so there is going to be a gap there between the penetration Randall gets and holding the tackle on the line of scrimmage, although this penalty is going to be against the Detroit Lions, too. But that's not a bad place to run.
Holding offense, number 64. 10 yards, still first down.
Jeff Hardings.
He's a right guard. Here's Hardings here. And we're going to see the run is going to be to the left side. Hardings blocking against Jerry Ball right there. I don't know. He really didn't have to hold him. He just had to hold his ground. In fact, I don't see any holding there. That's about all he could do. And I think
that's a pretty good job, look to me.
I think what Jeff Hardings did there against Jerry Ball, pushing you back, was just trying to hold your ground.
3 wide receiver set up this time. Batch, screen pass. Sanders in the middle of it. To the 39, Dwayne Rudd made a stop.
You know, just a couple plays ago, 2 times up the middle and then 5 times to the right. So until that last run there, they had a pretty good run to the left side. They'd kind of been going the middle and to the right away from John Randall.
2nd and 16. That's throw. Batted down at the line of scrimmage. Tony Williams batted it down.
Tony Williams is the tackle, and here's Jerry Ball and Tony Williams. They're the 2 inside guys, and their job is to just push up the middle. There he is right there. He gets the penetration because he turns sideways right there at the end. Watch him, you see, he turned sideways, and he hit Charlie Batch just as he threw the ball.
3rd and 16. Crowd gives him a little noise. And Batch drops to throw it. They're coming after him with a blitz again. And they got there. Ed McDaniel.
Yeah, Ed McDaniel was kind of the last guy, and he had to take a dive to get into the pile.
Yeah.
These Viking fans are saying it's about time. And look at Charlie Batch. He's been sacked once, hurried 7 times, hit 6 times. They have a game plan, a defensive game plan, to put Charlie Batch on his back anytime he goes back to pass.
Showing some things he hasn't seen. He didn't see him in preseason. Palmer back deep for Jets punt. Palmer shakes it up the middle. Caught from behind. Fumble. The ball still scrambling. Vikings saying we got it. The Lions pulling players out of the pack.
Oh.
Flag on the play. Ron Rivers.
Yeah, those are really stupid penalties. After the play is over and you got a recovery and then two guys start pushing and pulling at each other. Those are the things that, you know, the coaches refer to as dumb penalties. This is going to be one here.
Do you have a foul, he's saying?
Yeah, it happened right in front of us.
Yeah.
We saw the guy, one guy pulled the other, and the official was right there and threw the flag.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Detroit, number 31. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Minnesota, number 31. Offsetting dead ball fouls.
Watch 34.
First down.
Right here. Now watch, here's the thing here. They call that, they missed the punch, and then they called it on the Detroit guy. I don't know about that one.
I don't either.
That could have been both ways, I think.
We asked the Hartford Wolfpack to try the Norelco reflex action for 21 days. There were signs of resistance.
Get that electric out of my face.
This ain't gonna do nothing on my beard.
But then they began realizing how it adjusted to the contours of their faces for an unexpectedly close, smooth shave without the nicks and cuts of a blade.
Kind of like the Zamboni, eh?
Even their fans noticed they were changed men.
Look at you pretty boys. So smooth.
The Norelco reflex action. Put it to the test. If you don't like it, we'll give you your money back. Guaranteed.
These guys, they work hard to bring you cold Coors beer. But they also care about who drinks it.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Can I see your ID, please?
If you're under 21, do us both a favor. Wait. Until then, work on your smile. At Coors, 21 means 21. What's up, kids?
Hey, mind if I play?
Right. Find out how you can play youth football in your town. Call 1-800-NFL-SNAP.
6-3, Detroit over Minnesota. Here's Palmer's fumble.
See, you got it stripped from behind. And Hunter Goodwin, the backup tight end for the Vikings, is the guy that finally fell on it. Then they did have offsetting penalties, and that's why it's a Vikings ball right here.
Randall Cunningham drops and throws. Carter catches and goes out of bounds. Right now for an NFL update, let's return to James Brown at the Fox Network Center in Los Angeles.
Pat and John inactive week 1. Greg Hill trying to make amends. Big 12-yard run here to pay dirt. Add that to a 46-yarder earlier. He's got 58 total yards. St. Lou on top of Buffalo. 10-7 in the second. Back to Pat and John.
6-3 at the Metrodome. Detroit leading Minnesota.
What did JB call him? St. Lou?
St. Lou, yeah.
St. Lou leading. Oh, there's another penalty.
Flag on the play.
Yeah, we were talking about dumb penalties on that kickoff return fumble. It was dumb on both sides, and those are the thing. You know, you're going to have, you know, the holding penalties. You're going to have those as you play the game. But those, once the whistle blows, those plays, those penalties that are after
Holding,
the whistle are dumb
offense,
penalties.
number 64. 10 yards, repeat, second
Randall
down.
McDaniel, that's 2 of those, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the second one this half for Randall McDaniel. They're getting a little tight in there today on that on the holding. I mean, a couple of them look like type of things that you wouldn't call holding. I mean, to me, that doesn't look like holding.
No.
And you see the umpire right there. He's the guy that's standing right behind him and sees it. But we've seen 2 holding penalties that look like pretty good blocks to me thus far.
That that one, he just circled around for position and had good position. Up into the pocket to a wide open Jake Reed. And Reed out of bounds.
That's one of the things that Randall Cunningham was talking about yesterday. Once he starts to run, he still looks for a receiver where he used to just run. And here, when you have a big wide receiver like these guys are, and Jake Reed, and he can get in the middle for you, and you're running, you have a big target there, and you have clean feet to throw.
Jake Reed had only caught 3 passes in the first 2 games. There was an article in the paper yesterday asking him if he was upset about the fact that he'd only caught 3 balls. He said, no, my day will come. And it's here. Cunningham. Randy Moss.
You know, there's in that Jake Reed and saying his turn will come, and I think that's the way they all have to feel, because the goal has to be to win the game. And like I've always said, there's a fine line between being a competitor and being selfish. And if you're talking about give me the ball to help me win the game, then that makes sense to me. If you say give me the ball, we're behind, I want to make some stats, that's selfishness.
And there have been some recognized receivers around the league who felt that way. Pass is out to Palmer. He got a good block from McDaniel. The key block by Randall McDaniel that time.
Over the years, we talked about Randall McDaniel and making so many key blocks because he's a guard who can stay in here and block, but he's also a guard that can get out and face and block. And watch him here come down on the screen, and right there, as you say, make the block. And that's the block that freed the screen.
And Palmer's out of bounds at about the 15-yard line. First down, Vikings at that point.
Palmer's not bad. The thing the Vikings have to watch out with Palmer is that they don't tell run and pass by when he's in there. You know, he's the pass-catching running back, and you don't want to get anything. Anytime he's in there, it's a pass, and anytime Robert Smith is in there, it's a run.
Timeout, Minnesota. They have 2 left. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, J.B. Terry, Howie, and Chris, scores and highlights. And the Fox Sports ticker with up to the second stat. Mark McGuire update. That's all coming up on the Visa halftime report.
You think that Mark McGuire is going to hit more home runs than Sammy Sosa?
Yeah, I'm afraid to say, because we both predicted he wouldn't hit 60.
Yeah, I know, and now I'm saying that Sammy Sosa is going to hit more home runs than Mark McGuire.
I think I'll take that.
Yeah, I mean, mine. I've been.
I think
anyway.
McGuire. I think McGuire will hit more than Sosa.
Okay, I'll take Sosa.
Okay.
And right now, the Vikings, you know, with 2 minutes and 11 seconds, they want to take their time. This is not one of the things that when you have 2 minutes, 11 seconds, you have 2 timeouts. You don't want to speed things up here. You want to score and not let them have a lot of time.
11 seconds before the 2-minute warning. The handoff is to Smith. Down to the 10.
Watch what Randall Cunningham does here, Pat, on that one. We were talking about how he hit that big target and he ran, and then he to try and make the block. That's not bad.
No. Randall Cunningham, some backup.
Fox NFL.
They can still get a first down without scoring. So I think that the first down marker is about the 5-yard line. So now they can throw a pass between the 5-yard line and the end zone, or they can throw into the end zone. You see, they can throw it to here, or they can throw in the end zone.
Reed and Carter are left. Carter in the slot inside. Randy Moss at the top of your picture. Moss. Beg your pardon. Tight end, Andrew Glover. And here comes the field goal team.
Yeah, Glover right now. Now what Detroit's going to say is that they're going to come, that they're going to bring the blitz from both sides, and they're going to make Randall Cunningham throw the ball before he wants to. So the thing that he sees is his tight end right there, Glover, and he has to throw it at that point. You would think, you would think that instead of looking for his tight end, he'd be looking for Chris Carter down there.
Anderson from 28 yards this time. And he ties it up 6-6. With a minute 51 left to play in the first half. Tuesday night, it's the new series Costello, plus an all-new Guinness World Records. Fox's night of new episodes starts Tuesday at 8/7 Central here on Fox. See if I got this right. I've got McGuire and you got Sosa, right?
Yeah. I think that Mark McGuire, was a big story when he broke Roger Maris's record, and then Sammy Sosa did it. And I don't think he got credit.
No, he didn't.
I don't think he got enough credit. And I think that just the way things are going, I think he's not only going to sneak up and catch him, I think he's going to sneak up and beat him.
The only thing not clear in my mind is what do I win if I'm right? A ride in the bus?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can ride in the bus anytime. You get a free cross-country trip on the bus.
I think I'm seeking another reward.
With his score at 6-6, though, is kind of what you're going to get when you have backup quarterbacks. I think that both of them are playing well enough to get some things going, to do some things, but not consistent enough, to go all the way down the field and score touchdowns, obviously.
Way deep and out of the end zone is Berger's kick. I was talking to him yesterday. He said he feels good. Last year, he was injured all year long with a bad hip. But this year, he said everything is fine. He went to some doctor that kickers go to, which I've never been to. Halftime report. The Visa halftime report. JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris. Scores and highlights around the league. And the Fox Sports ticker.
You're probably the only guy, though, that would talk to a kicker about going to a doctor that kickers go to. No one else knows that.
I didn't know there was such a guy. Until yesterday, Herman Moore makes the catch. He thinks, they say incomplete.
We know right now that they're going to play off for Herman Moore, and that Charlie Batch is going to look for Herman Moore every time he goes down to pass.
Look at the way he catches this ball.
Well, he always wants to keep his thumbs in.
Yeah.
So usually you keep your thumbs in when you catch the ball above your waist, and your thumbs out below the waist. But he'll bend down so that he can always catch with his thumbs in.
He did that just then. Batch. Moore. Fights for yardage, gets to the 26. Robert Griffith up.
The other thing about Herman Moore is his little fingers are really both dislocated, and he has to tape them together with those gloves. Look at him there, how he tapes both of those fingers together on his gloves, because he said if he didn't, when the ball hit it, his finger would just pop out.
Batch will get the first down to Johnny Morton. He struggles to get out of bounds, and I believe he does to stop the clock. A minute 14 left until the half. 6-6 tie. 1st and 10.
You can see that Charlie Batch is a lot calmer now. I mean, he was talking the other day. He said his first day in practice, his Wednesday, his first day as a starter, he said he had butterflies in his stomach. And I was thinking, if you have butterflies in your stomach in practice, your stomach today would have to be like a pair of sneakers in a dryer. That's what he had to be feeling.
Erupting.
But he's calmed down now. Sneakers out of the dryer.
Changing the play. Better hurry. He does. High over the head of Morton. That ball is just picking up speed and height.
This is another thing. If you watch Charlie Batch here, you look at his left arm there. You see, you try and give your starting quarterback every advantage that you can. I mean, they script the first 15, and he has the plays there on his wrist. You can see on his left wrist that he has the plays, and those will be the plays and maybe some audibles and so on. They give him every help that they can.
Batch again changing. Randall gets around the corner. Batch throws up middle. Intended.
I think that the Minnesota Viking defense is also getting a better feel of Charlie Batch and about what the Lions are trying to do offensively. The guy that's been under a lot of fire there, Bobby Ross. And
took some courage to do what he did.
Yeah, and and especially after the second game. I mean, there was a lot of talk last year in the playoffs that they ought to get rid of Mitchell after that Tampa Bay game, and then he started to have 2 poor outings. And
Batch's pass to Plevich was the intended receiver, incomplete.
Okay, Dwayne Rudd, the linebacker, was right there. I mean, that's one thing about these Minnesota Vikings linebackers. They can all run and they can all cover. So when they get on 3rd down, they can keep those guys in.
It's a big advantage not to have to make all those changes with nickel backs. They have linebackers like that can run.
Yeah, because a lot of people, once they see your nickel and you put in those defensive backs, they just want to run on you. But when you keep those linebackers in there, there's no run there on nickel.
Jet. Hunt is handled by Palmer. Next week, it's a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. First, the NFC champion Packers head to Carolina, where we'll be, to clash with the Panthers. Then it's a battle between 2 NFC Central rivals as these Vikings head to Chicago to take on the Bears or other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on Fox. Check your local listing.
There's Jim Pine, number 61, the center of the Lions, came over from Tampa Bay, like you said. He's the only guy that is a 3rd-generation player. His brother played in the AFL, professional football, and then Jim Pine, the 3rd generation.
And we saw him last night checking out the menu.
Yeah, about 3 hours before dinner time. Big old lineman, when they check into a hotel, the first place they go get a menu.
Robert Smith gets the carry and gets nothing.
The fans don't like that. I mean, they're thinking when you got all those weapons, when you have Jake Reed, you have Chris Carter, you got Randy Moss, what in the heck are you just running the ball out for?
Well, this is not something they're used to this year from this offensive unit. In the first 2 games, the Vikings have scored 45 points in the first half. Today, they're tied at 6.
I think, and a lot of that is the quarterback change. I mean, you go from, Brad Johnson and even though Randall Cunningham has played 13 years, he really doesn't have a fluid playing with this group. And then, of course, you have the same thing on the other side.
There's Red McCombs, the new owner of these Vikings.
Saying everything's okay. He wanted to, I'm sure he thought he was going to see an explosive first half.
Tell you what, the local people are really happy with what he has done so far.
Well, I think it gives them a strength, and they feel that that the Vikings are going to be here, and it gives them a stronger foundation to back.
Stability. Pass is incomplete from Cunningham, intended hands. Randall Cunningham has always thrown the ball hard.
Yeah,
and a long way he can throw it.
Yeah, he does, and I don't think that he's gotten into any rhythm yet. And you see that one, he's thrown some high, and that one was not only hard, but it was behind Jake Reed. And he hasn't gotten into a smooth and fluid rhythm, and he's still kind of playing herky-jerky in this first half.
Yeah, that's unusual for him because he's a very smooth athlete. Show blitz to him. Jake Reed, the intended receiver, he's out of bounds, and he was juggling as he went out.
See, and that's the thing where Randall Cunningham said he's different, and you don't know if you really like that or not, because maybe running the ball, he could have gotten a first down there, but he says now as he's matured, he said when he starts to run, he continues to look downfield to find a receiver to throw the ball, not running and trying to run the ball.
I wonder what the difference is between maturing and getting old.
If you can still play, you're maturing.
Yep.
When you can't play anymore, you got old.
Berger's punt umpire signals fair catch, makes it. Again, a reminder this week on Fox Saturday Baseball, the regular season comes to an end as the Mets face the Braves while Sammy Sosa and the Cubs will be in Houston. Plus other action with playoff implications as well as cut-ins for every McGuire at bat. Coverage begins at 12:30 Eastern and Pacific on Fox. Check your local listing. Lions quickly out of the huddle. 6-6 tie, 27 seconds left. Do you just run it out?
No, the Lions have 2 timeouts. I don't think they should.
There goes Batch. And he does get out of bounds, and he will stop the clock. He got back to the first down marker. McDaniel chased him out of bounds.
See, the Lions were at the 38-yard line, so all they need is a couple pass completions to get into field goal range. I think if they were back at the 20, I would say that they should just run it out. But they had pretty good field position here to try and take a couple shots before halftime.
2nd and 11, 19 seconds left. Rushed again. This time he gets the ball up the middle, intended for Herman Moore, intercepted by Robert Griffith. 13 seconds remaining.
See, and with 13 seconds, that's really the first pass that Charlie Batch, I felt, forced.
Yep.
He started to run there, and any time a guy throws a interception, you say, well, geez, he shouldn't have thrown that. And you can see that, you know, they've sacked him and they've been hurt today. And that time he started to run, and he had a clear lane and just threw the interception. That's one thing at the end of the half, when you have your timeout and you have downs left, if you don't have a guy wide open, you don't force, you just throw it away. Now the Vikings have a shot. I mean, they have 3 wide receivers over on this side.
Throw it high and far. Cunningham can throw it a long way. And here come the Lions on another blitz. Cunningham gets out of the pocket, fires over to Moss, who backs out of bounds with 7 seconds left.
It's an interesting thing. Instead of sending all 3 of them deep, they had 1 short, that was Moss, 1 in the middle, that was Carter, and then 1 deep, that was Reed. You see, they all started out here, and 1 goes short, 1 goes medium, and 1 goes deep. See, there's a short one, there's a medium one in the middle, and here was the guy who was supposed to go deep. So it's 1, 2, 3. And he hit the short guy, but eventually now with 7 seconds, he can't be doing that. I mean, he's going to have to throw it up.
4 wide receivers. 3 to the right. 1 left. Cunningham going to be hit, and is from behind by Porcher.
Yep, Robert Porcher was there, and that was the old clock in the quarterback's head. Randall Cunningham couldn't see him, but he knew he was there, didn't he?
He knew somebody would be. That's the end of the first half with the score Detroit 6, Minnesota 6. Fox NFL Sunday will continue with JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris in the Visa halftime report after these messages and a word from your local Fox station.
Tonight.
Good offensive line. In fact, I've always said that it's a great running back that makes a great offensive line anyway. You know, some people say, does the offensive line come first, then the running back? I think it's the running back. And the other thing, to me, the only thing that can really stop Barry Sanders is when they stop calling his number. You know, like when they get behind, then they have to pass, and they get in a passing mode, and they forget about him. That can stop them. Their own team can stop them, or getting behind can stop him more than a defense
In other
can
words,
stop him.
just take him out of the game because he has to throw almost every down.
That's the only way that I can see that he can't break records. I don't think it's about the offensive line.
I'm with you. All right, this week's You Call It was what we just gave you. This week, asked the question we gave you about Sarah Carter from New Boston. We'll return to Minnesota for the start of the second half after these messages from your local Fox station.
You're watching Fox.
Minneapolis, Minnesota Vikings 6, Detroit Lions 6. Randall Cunningham, who opened at quarterback for the Vikings. Brad Johnson out with a broken leg, and Charlie Batch who replaced Scott Mitchell at quarterback for the Lions.
You know, when you watch that first half, you really don't feel that either one of those quarterbacks got into a flow of things. And, you know, we know it's tough because in quarterback, you don't get the practice reps. The other guy gets all the practice reps. So the only preparation that you can do is the mental preparation. Scott Mitchell went all the way down from the starting quarterback to the third quarterback.
Not even active.
He's just the emergency quarterback and could only play if the two guys in front of him, that would be Charlie Batch and Frank Reich, were to go down.
So the Vikings will kick off to open the second half. Mitch Berger. Terry Fair back deep in the middle for Detroit. Good high kick. Sails down to Fair, a yard or two deep in the end zone. Terry Fair gets to the 14. The Vikings, excellent job of covering that kick.
Terry Fair's dancing too much. Look at the first half stats here. And, of course, this turnover really didn't hurt because it was right at the end of the half. So you really didn't have any turnovers, and it was about even. I mean, that's why the score is even. I mean, you get the passing advantage over here, 141 yards to 57. But other than that, it was a pretty even first half.
Pretty well reflects the score. 6-6. Two tight ends for Detroit. Sanders spins away from somebody in the backfield. Ed McDaniel out to bring him down.
That was Robert Griffith, what he did. He's a strong safety, and that was one of the things that Denny Green talked about, is he wanted to get up real quick to the outside. Get up, get containment, make him bounce outside. You know, don't let him get squared. Don't let him get started. And that's exactly what Robert Griffith did on that play.
2nd and 12. Back at their own 12. Charlie Batch gives to Sanders. And again, Sanders is hit behind the line of scrimmage by Ed McDaniel.
See, that's what the Vikings are doing now, is they have Detroit pinned back here, and they're going to keep going after him. And again, you want to play on this side of the line of scrimmage. You see, Barry Sanders gets the ball here. He starts to go to the outside, and there the penetration is there on his side of the line of scrimmage before he can even get there. Look at this. He has minus yardage, 5 carries, 5 times today. He has been caught behind the line of scrimmage.
3 wide receiver setup this time for Charlie Batch's offensive unit. And Batch comes out of the pocket. Fakes one time, but nobody bites. And Dwayne Rudd.
Yeah, we were talking in the first half about how good a linebacker Dwayne Rudd is, and how you can leave him in there on 3rd down. And not only, of course, is he a good linebacker, but he's a good pass cover guy. And then, as you see here, he's a good open field tackler. Right here, Rudd comes into the picture, boom, right now, and makes a sure open field tackle. That's a lot tougher than it looks.
Palmer back deep for Minnesota. Jet to punt it. And this is a dandy. Palmer at the 34. Palmer, one man to beat. The punter slowed him down, and that was just enough. Jet slowed him down enough to prevent a touchdown.
And Palmer's going to catch heck for that. You never let the kicker slow you down or tackle you. But that thing really broke, and the thing that Palmer does is he takes the ball and he goes straight up the field with it. But there's only one thing left there. That's a pretty good play right there. But David Palmer had made a heck of a run to get to that point.
So the Vikings will take over in great shape. 1st and 10 on the Detroit 22. 53-yard punt, 44-yard return.
And we were talking about the punter, and that's all he has to do. I mean, when he's the only guy there, he's the last line of defense. And in that case, John Jett did. You just stay square, and you just hope that you can hold him up long enough so you get some friends there.
That's exactly what he did. 2 tight ends for Minnesota. Cunningham back to throw it. Flag on the play intended for Andrew Glover. in the end zone, and this is going to be interference against Detroit, I believe.
Yeah, it looked like Glover was tripped just as the ball was getting there. You know, they have that one thing where they call it incidental tripping. If your feet get caught up, they don't call that pass interference. They had
pass interference, defense, number 28. That's an automatic.
And that's Ron Rice.
That's Ron Rice, and you're going to see him. He's going to come in right there. Now, I don't know that there was a hand involved there, or if that were just the feet.
That, it appeared to me at least, would be that incidental tripping. Nevertheless, it's first and goal.
Yeah, because that's the one that they usually do pick up if there's no hands involved, if the feet just get caught up.
Leroy Horde. 3 wide receivers for Minnesota. Carter comes in motion. Horde gets the carry, hit behind the line, and he'll lose a couple.
And that time it was Robert Porcher with the penetration. We showed how the Vikings were penetrating earlier. And now when you get down here, that's what you have to get. You have to get and play on this side of the line of scrimmage. Watch Porcher here. You see, he gets into the backfield before the thing can get started. And that's the secret to stopping the running game anywhere. But the closer you get to the goal line, the more important penetration is by defense.
Second and goal at the 5. Porcher did his job there. Robert Smith now is the deep back. The fade pattern. Jake Reed was in that direction, but he wasn't even close.
Yeah, well, that was the blitz. I think Cunningham saw the blitz. The Lions loaded up in the middle, and they were going to come right up the middle, so he knew that he has to get rid of the ball. Watch the pressure that they're going to get right now on him. You see, he sees that, and he knows that there's a free guy, even though that guy was going to ultimately be blocked. Cunningham didn't know that, so he had to get rid of the ball, and there was no pattern there.
If he feels the heat this time, he'll take off. He'll run it. Horde behind him. The pass caught by Moss. Touchdown. Randy Moss. Just at the back of the end zone from Cunningham.
Randy Moss is the only guy over here on this side. They put 3 wide receivers on the other side. They got Randy Moss back on this side, man-to-man against Kenny Abrams.
Did a heck of a job to get both feet down. Anderson's extra point is good, and the Vikings lead it 13-6. 11:41 left to play in the third quarter. Vikings on top. Minnesota 13, Detroit 6. Berger set to kick off. Bear back deep. First time the Vikings have led. Berger's kick is another good one. And Bear is going to bring it out. He's going to be down at the 15 again. 13-6, Minnesota.
Steve's band had its first big break last night.
Touchdown again. It was an interesting formation. The Vikings had 3 wide receivers on this side. Randy Moss trying to get back here, man-to-man coverage, but Mark Carrier doubles. Here's Kevin Abrams, but they're going to double Randy Moss. And this is a heck of a throw by Randall Cunningham. You see, here's Kevin Abrams. He backs off, knows that he has help inside. And right there, you see Randy Moss pushes off a little, gets Carrier going one way, and Randall Cunningham threads that needle.
So the Lions take over after that Viking touchdown, 1st and 10 at their own 15. Barry Sanders taken down after a yard pickup by Derek Alexander.
Well, again, they had Robert Griffith, the strong safety up, and that was the thing that Denny Green was talking about yesterday, is getting that contain guy, that outside guy, up quickly. and then making Barry Sanders either bounce outside of that or cut back into pursuit. And that's how they're playing Barry Sanders today.
Flag on the play as they jumped on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, you see the Vikings were coming on another blitz, and that's what they're doing on the run. They're getting the outside guys up for containment, and then on passing downs, they're blitzing Charlie Batch.
Right to the snap. Ball start. Offense, number 10. 5 yards. Still second down.
Against the quarterback.
And we've talked about how you can play in preseason and not see the things that you're going to see now. Again, it's on Charlie Batch. You see, he started to pull out before the ball was snapped. Sometimes that happens where the quarterback who calls the snap count gets up to the line of scrimmage and forgets what the snap count was that he called.
2nd and 13. Fake to Sanders. Batch has the ball deflected. Knocked down by one of the Minnesota defenders.
Yeah, I will say that Ray Roberts is really doing a pretty good job today against John Randall.
Yes,
I mean, that's not the thing. I mean, Charlie Batch has had some problem. He's been knocked down. They've had some problems running the ball, but they've really taken pretty good care of John Randall in the pass protection here. And that's Ray Roberts out here. You see him. He just kind of sets to help him. He knows that he has a back on his outside, Barry Sanders. So he's just waiting for John Randall on the inside and letting him run up the field.
3 wide receivers. Batch. Johnny Morton made the catch. And that's enough for a Detroit first down.
That's one of those under control things that you like to throw, where you throw that low. And the great thing about it, either your guy is going to catch it. Here's Johnny Morton. He's going to come up, and then he's going to turn left to the inside, and you throw it right down there where either he catches it or it's an incomplete pass, but there's no way it's tipped nor an interception.
Sanders on first down. Robert Griffith. Right now for an NFL update, let's return to James Brown at the Fox Network Center in Los Angeles.
And John, take a look at Rob Johnson, tight eye right. Who does he find? His tight end, Jay Remersmer. Touchdown for Buffalo. Right now, they're on top of St. Louis by 18. That in the third. Back to Pat Summerall and John Madden.
At the Metrodome in Minneapolis. Minnesota 13-6. It's 2nd and 6 Detroit. Batch to Sanders. Sanders cut away from the blockers and got enough for a first down. Robert Griffith made the stop again.
Yeah, see, that's the difference. When you get some plus yardage on first down, then you can come back and run on second down again. When you get non-plus yardage on first down, you get second and long or third and long, then you always have to throw.
Corey Schlesinger over on the sideline. Travis Reese is now the blocker for Sanders.
And they just activated him. He was on the practice squad. They just acted him for today's game. Tommy Bardell had his knee scoped this week.
Again, a flag drops.
Prior to the snap, ball start, offense, number 64, 5 yards, still
Jeff
first
Hardings.
Number 64 has got a lot of penalties today on both sides, haven't they? Here's 64. That's Jeff Hardings, the right guard. And again, you see, all Charlie Batch was doing is he was turning around to talk to his fullback. And those linemen, they get up there and they have a kind of a short trigger, you know, a short fuse. They're ready to go. They hear anything and they go.
Still first down, 1st and 15. And Batch talking again to his fullback. This is Sanders. And there is no place to go. Good job by the Viking defense. Griffith again after he was set up by Dwayne Rudd.
Yeah, and Corey Fuller, the thing that they want to do is the ball starts out here. They want to get up here to the outside and build a wall. And you see how they do it? There's part of the wall. There's the outside of the wall right there. It was Corey Fuller. He was the guy that got outside and made Barry Sanders bounce. You see Fuller comes out here. He sees it. Now he gets up, makes Barry Sanders bounce out. And there's Robert Griffin.
Batch throws, intended for Morton, incomplete. That one was catchable.
Yeah, well, you know, last week Johnny Morton ran inside like that, and he took a heck of a hit.
Oh, I remember.
I mean, that was when we saw it on film, and his head snapped back, and in fact, I think he was knocked out for a while.
There's Schlesinger, who started at fullback. Now it's the just activated Travis Reese. Three wide receivers.
I think that's what Charlie Batch was talking to on that last play. I think he was talking a lot to Travis Reese.
I think he was. Here's Batch back to throw it. Steps up in the pocket. Incomplete. Intended for Herman Moore. He had it and lost it.
Yeah, that's Herman Moore's fault. That was good pass protection. Charlie Batch stepped up, and he threw a perfect pass. I mean, that was right in Herman Moore's hands, although I don't know if it would have been a first down anyway. You watch Herman Moore come here, and he's going to go to the inside. I mean, he catches those passes 99 out of 100 times. You wonder where in the heck that one came from.
Well, again, it's perhaps, I'm not making excuses, but the difference between the ball that Batch throws and Mitchell throws.
Yeah, one of the things that he was talking about yesterday, Herman Moore was saying, because he's shorter, you don't see the ball come out of there.
And Mitchell, of course, is left-handed. This is Palmer. Flag on the play way back at the line of scrimmage. Flag's in the middle of the field. Going to be holding. Take him back, make him kick it again.
Yeah, that's what Denny Green is saying. Take the penalty. It'll be a 10-yard penalty and make them kick it again. Because if you get the same, because
holding, kicking team, number 42, 10 yards, repeat, fourth down.
Oh.
Those are the things that are driving Bobby Ross crazy. He said, just the penalties, the stupid penalties, the getting beat deep on third down, the kicking game really hasn't been the type of kicking game that he's used to. Having Herman Moore drop a third down pass, you're not going to see an awful lot of those. But you add Herman Moore's drop along to this 10-yard penalty, and there is about 40 yards or about 30 yards of field position that Detroit has just given up.
And don't think those are not things that stick in Bobby Ross's mind.
Because he is that kind of coach.
The exact yardage. This is a shank off the side of John Jett's foot. And that hurts. That really hurts. Minnesota will take over close to midfield. 13-6 is the lead. Here on Fox, Schlesinger headed for the sideline. Cunningham drops the throw. Gets it outside to his tight end, Greg DeLong. And DeLong has got a Viking first down. Going back to that last exchange, when there's a penalty on after the punt, then Jett shanked that punt. The Lions lost 24 yards in those two punts. They had downed it. Minnesota had it at their own 25. The Lions had it backed up. They lost 24 yards.
And then if you add that one that Herman Moore dropped, it was close to 40 yards of field position.
Three wide receivers for Minnesota. The handoff is to Smith.
Okay, John.
One thing, there hasn't been a lot of running in there inside. The Detroit Lion defense has done a pretty good job against Robert Smith of not giving him any cracks or creases in that middle of that line. The other thing that with both of these backup quarterbacks is they haven't had turnovers, and I think that's the thing that Detroit is thinking now, that they can't all be on Charlie Batch. That their defense and special teams, or someone has to come up with a play to change the momentum of this game.
2nd and 7. Cunningham, pass caught by Chris Carter. Chris Carter leaps. Terry Fair took him out of bounds. Carter was about ready, or it appeared he was going to throw the ball at Terry Fair.
You know what I like about these Viking offense? The ball's going to be thrown over here. But watch Randy Moss. He comes in here, and now for protection, they keep him in, and he blocks. Now, this is the thing that really helps. You know, you see him come in here. Now, we talk about receivers. You talk about him catching and doing all these things. But when they can stand in there and make blocks like that on a blitz, I mean, he blocked that as well as an offensive lineman would block it. So it's not only catching the ball and running, it's doing the little things.
Smith trips it out of bounds. Kevin Abrams herded him out of bounds.
Well, that's the thing we've been talking about is the containment and the force on that side. And when you're in a cover 2 like that, the force guy has to be the corner, and that time it was Kevin Abrams, and he has to come out hard to the outside. And then again,
and lost a yard. Jake Reed comes left. Chris Carter is wide right. 2 tight end setup for Cunningham. 1 setback is Robert Smith. Blitz, look out. Gets it out to Smith. Cunningham was ripped just as he let that one go on the blind side.
It was blind side because it's this side, but he's turning to his left. You see, when he turns his back right there, he doesn't see nor feel that backside pressure coming. And he just gets hit just as he throws that ball.
3rd down and about 10. Make it 9. Leroy Horde is deep. 2 for 7 on their 3rd down conversion. Somebody moved. The Lions did, I know. Maybe Minnesota pulled them.
Well, that's Randall Cunningham trying to change up the snap count, you know, going on a hard count again. He did that earlier and got the Lions to jump off sides.
Hard snap. Ball start. Offense, number 82. 5 yards. Still 3rd down.
Got Andrew Glover to move that time, his own tight end.
And, you know, we talked about that earlier when it didn't happen. That, you know, as a coach, it drives you crazy. You want to do those kinds of things, you know, to change the snap count, to give him a hard count. But then when your own guy jumps, then you say, the heck with it, don't do that anymore. See Glover right there at the end. He just made a little jump as he went back in to get into pass protection.
That's all it takes. Still 3rd down. Cunningham out of the shotgun this time. Again, he's chased. Gets it off to Horde, and Horde gets down to about the 24-yard line, stopped by Fredrickson.
Boy, how he missed Robert Porcher. Porcher, did you see that?
Yeah.
Just flew by Cunningham. Cunningham just took a step and got out of there. I think that's why he's smiling. But watch Porcher. He comes from the top here, takes an inside movement right there. He just flies by Cunningham. Cunningham, because he was turned to his right that time, he saw Porcher coming.
Anderson will attempt a field goal this time from 42 yards. Currently 3rd on the NFL's all-time list. And he's good again. 3 for 3. 5 for 5 on the year for Anderson. 16-6. Vikings by 10.
I never walk.
Be concerned about what's going on in the background. That's part of the Renaissance Festival that's going on. Look pretty tough.
Look like WWF professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Expected to see Hulk Hogan in there jumping from the top ring.
Line kickoff out of the end zone by Berger. Detroit will take over 1st and 10 at the 20. They trail by 10. Minnesota, 3:31 left in the 3rd. Word on Corey Schlesinger is that he has a sprained right ankle. Return questionable.
So
this
what
week, excuse me, Don.
No, I was just going to say Detroit's going to go with 2 tight ends.
They'll start from their own 20. Charlie Batch has been the quarterback all day for the Lions. Again, conversation. Batch of Sanders. This is Barry Sanders. Cut it back over the middle. Picked up about 3. Tony Williams made the stop. 2nd and 7. It contained Barry Sanders pretty well. 3:12, 3:10 now left in the third quarter, and Minnesota leading 16-6. That's to throw it. Fumble. And Ed McDaniel came up with a turnover.
Yeah, that's the thing. We can talk about quarterbacks and we can talk about backup quarterbacks, but it's also special teams and it's also defense. You know, anyone can make a play. Here the defense makes a play. I mean, that was a perfect pass. The guy's wide open. He makes a good read and just a good tackle. Come in there, strip the ball, knock it out, and get a turnover.
Kriplevich is number 81, the one who lost the ball. McDaniel made the recovery. Batch goes back to the bench.
You can't blame that one on Charlie Batch. I mean, that was, you know, good pass protection, good read. He hit his guy, but that was great defense by the Vikings. And that's what you get when you have speed linebackers. They can converge on the ball and make something happen when they get there.
2 tight ends set up for Minnesota, and Cunningham's going right to work. But maybe he's not. Luther Ellis. Right now for an NFL update, let's return to James Brown at the Fox Network Center in Los Angeles.
A-Tack going to work. Tony Banks and Amp Lee, 23-yard strike, 3rd down play. Count the touchdown. Amp Lee, 5 catches for 24 yards on 3rd down last week. Got to double him coming out of the backfield. Back to Pat and John.
And we're back at the Metrodome in Minneapolis, where Detroit has the ball. Minnesota has the ball at Detroit's 35. Cunningham back to throw. Batted down by Abrams. Good play.
That was Jake Reed was trying to make an out move or a little comeback move, and Kevin Abrams plays this perfectly. Watch him. He's right on him. He doesn't hit him with that right hand, just gets that left hand out in front of it and knocks the ball down.
That's as it should be done. That's textbook.
Well, you'd think that this would be, for the Detroit Lions, would be a blitzing situation. You think that because the Vikings are right at field goal position now, and a sack could knock them out of field goal position.
Leroy Hordes in the backfield. No blitz. Cunningham. Randy Moss. Gets the first down and trips out of bounds.
Boy, this guy is impressive, this Randy Moss.
He really is.
We watched him in the preseason. We watched him earlier in the season, and then this guy is just a heck of a player. I mean, we watched him today block. We watched him catch passes. Here's a big first down play. Randall Cunningham probably feels more comfortable with Randy Moss than any of the guys because as a backup quarterback, he's thrown more passes in practice in preseason to Randy Moss than anyone else. Coming into this game, he had caught 10 passes, and they'd all been for a first down.
Just added to that total. That's Robert Smith. Hurdles over the right side. Clock running at 1:50 left in the third. And the Vikings close enough now, certainly, for another field goal.
How about Denny Green losing his 65 pounds? We saw him yesterday. He got 60 buddies of his tickets. He has 60 guys here from John Harris High School. Went to John Harris High School together in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. They all came to practice yesterday. He fed them breakfast. They went to practice, and they're all here to see this one.
And they were hungry.
They ate a lot.
Cunningham drops to throw it. Hit just as he let it go, and the pass is dropped by Jake Reed. Yes, the defender was close.
You know, one thing that Cunningham has proven here, that just because you're right-handed, that your backside isn't always your left side. That's the thing. Everyone says, well, the left tackle, you know, blocks his backside and all. It depends on which way you're turning. If you're a right-handed quarterback and you're throwing to your left, then your backside becomes your right side.
It'll be 3rd and 8. Jake Reed goes wide to the right. Moss and Carter come left. Moss on the outside. Carter on the inside. Now Carter moves back, jogs around a little bit. Moss. Randy Moss. Ball is loose and goes out of bounds.
Randy Moss says that he doesn't even think about catching the ball, that he just takes that for granted, that anything comes close to him, he's going to catch it. He thinks about turning and running. He thinks about blocking. He thinks about everything else, but just the art of catching the football, he said he just takes that for granted. And you better take for granted holding on to it, too, when you go down.
Anderson again will attempt a field goal.
One thing that's surprising that the Vikings have been down here a number of times and have elected on third down not to take a shot in the end zone.
From 30 yards away this time for Gary Anderson. Again, he's good. 4 for 4. That's some of Denny's buddies?
Yeah, that's the group right there. Here's the group here. Most of them, they all got T-shirts and they all got those Viking caps. So the guys that wore them, I can put an X on them because they all gave them. They gave them the purple caps. They gave them those Viking T-shirts, and they gave them breakfast when we were there.
When we saw them, breakfast was the key.
You know, and Denny said that that this is really a special group. That he said that generation of guys were the first guys, from his group that went to college. And he said most of them, he said, went into teaching, coaching, and law.
And police work.
Yeah, a lot of them were policemen, FBI, that type of thing. And one thing about them, they all love Denny Green, and he looks like he's looking up there to see where they are right now.
Make sure they're as comfortable as he is.
Yeah, and they were down on the field. They were down on the field in the pregame warm-up, and that's nice when you can do that. I mean, when you can bring your guys from high school back, after all these years and all the coaching you've been through, and let them kind of share a home game with you and share part.
Remember them.
Yeah, that's the thing. And how many guys do? I mean, how many guys that have been out? I mean, Denny Green's turning 50 years old. And how many guys turning 50 years old remember all the guys that they went to high school and, do things for each other? Especially a group of 60 guys.
Not many. Berger kicks off, and again, he nails the ball into the end zone where Terry Fair will come out. Hunter Goodwin made the stop. This is Randy Moss. The good hands. Yesterday we spoke to Minnesota receiver Randy Moss about catching the football.
People say I have some soft hands, and I just try to catch the ball. I don't really try to pat the ball or make it go in smoothly. I either catch the ball with my hands or against my body. It just depends where the traffic is. If I'm in traffic, I'm going to catch it against my body. But if not, I'm going to catch it with my hands, tuck it away, and try to get away as quick as possible.
Injured player, there's Randy Moss. Eric Beverly, the injured Lion. Did you see Mays hit that wedge?
Yeah. I mean, that's what a wedge breaker really gets paid to do is to come down. Here's the wedge right here, and someone has to run into it and break it up.
There he is.
And that was Mason. He ran into it and break it up. But one of the first great wedge breakers of all time in the history of the NFL played for this team. You remember him?
The wild horse, Gil Maines. I'll never forget him.
Gil Maines used to run down under kickoff to go into the wedge feet first.
Man. Sanders trying to spin out of a tackle unsuccessfully. They pretty well contained him after the first series.
Well, I think they have a pretty good plan for it, and they do it more on first down. And the Lions have got into a routine of running him on first down all the time. So the Viking defense is a Barry Sanders defense on first down.
Moore is left, Morton right. Here's Sanders. And again. That was a late hit, and I think I saw a flag.
Yeah, I think it's on Robert Griffith. They're going to call that because he came in there as Barry Sanders was down. And again, Barry Sanders scrambles and
Personal
dances
foul,
and bounces.
Unnecessary roughness on the defense. Number 24 piling on. 15 yards.
That was Robert Griffith.
First down.
But if you don't get on him, then he's gonna break tackles. So everyone's thinking, play till the whistle blows, but not go after the whistle blows.
This is helmet to helmet.
Yeah, and he's not going to get up after that. I mean, that was a good call. You can't have a guy unprotected and down like that and take a shot at his head like that. That was a good call, and they should call that. I mean, if the guy's going and you're going for the play, that's one thing. But when the guy's down, the whistle blows, the play's over. You don't do that to anyone.
First down, Detroit. 6 seconds. This will be the last play of the third quarter. Flag on this play.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 72, 5 yards, still, first down.
Ray Roberts. You had John Randall. At the beginning of the game, he had all around his eyes painted. We saw a shot of him at the half, and all the paint was gone. I wonder if he took it off or he sweated it off.
I think he probably sweated it off. I mean, he started doing that just around, the bottom of his eyes, and then he made it bigger and bigger, and then down his face, and he was painting himself. But then you probably sweated it, and then when you put a towel on it, it has to come off.
That's the end of the third quarter with the score, Minnesota 19, Detroit 6. And Fox NFL Sunday will continue after a word from your local Fox station.
Vikings are doing things on defense now. They're making plays. They're getting turnovers. This is the second series that the Vikings have gotten a turnover. They've made something happen on defense. This is the thing we talked about earlier, that Charlie Batch is going to see things today that he's never seen before in his life, and this is one of them. I mean, these kind of coverages, these blitzes, and you have to know once you start to take the sack, you have to protect it because they're going to try it down.
And they just did that.
This is a real lesson for Charlie Batch, and I think it's a tough decision. I think Bobby Ross made a tough decision, but as he said, he's going to go with this. This isn't an experiment. This is a commitment in that direction. That's a tough commitment.
A decision he really wrestled with. In fact, he got lost in Detroit, driving and thinking about it. That's Leroy Horde. Horde, touchdown.
Once you break the dam, it's easy for the water to get through. And that's exactly what happened here. You change your momentum. You get things going on your side. Now you get your blockers. Your blockers are blocking. Your runners are running harder. And their tacklers aren't tackling as well.
We got a good block from Randy Moss.
We've got a lot of good blocks today from Randy Moss. I mean, of all the things that Randy Moss does, one of the most impressive things to me is his blocking.
Anderson's extra point is right there.
Here's Randy Moss's block right here. Anytime you see a big run, you're going to get a good block. He just stayed with his guys and put it right in the turf.
The Metrodome in Minneapolis. Harry Fair will get a shot at this one from about the 6. Right now, for an NFL update, let's return to James Brown at the Fox Network Center in Los Angeles.
Pat and John, you guys know that home run swing by McGuire looked like it was going to be home run number 66, but umpire Bob Davison said, no, wait a minute, spectator interference. The guy reached over the rail before the ball cleared the railing. Rule 3.15 and 16 say spectator interference. The umpire can nullify it. They gave him a double instead. Back to Pat and John.
This is Barry Sanders. He is wrapped up for a loss. Derek Alexander and Stalin Colonnade.
I think the key to the way the Vikings are playing today is about defense. It's about getting those last 2 turnovers, and it's about the way that they've played Barry Sanders today. We talked about it all day. Get up on the outside, force them to stop and get back and then penetrate and then have your guys coming from the backside in pursuit.
And this is a part of the Viking team that we had challenged or wondered about, doubted maybe.
This is the thing, but I think Detroit played into their hands by running every time on first down.
Here's Batch. He's going to take off and tuck it under this time.
Because Minnesota's really playing, like I said earlier, they're playing a first down run to stop Barry Sanders, and then they're playing second and third down pass to win, and if they do stop him. You can look here.
Yardage.
12 positive, 7 times that they have thrown him. Now, that's not poor running by Barry Sanders to me. That's great defense on this artificial turf by the Minnesota Vikings.
6 out of 12 on third down for Detroit today. 3 wide receivers this time. And Batch gets it out to Barry Sanders. Sanders will get a first down, and he trips out of bounds.
You see more guys losing their shoes now. Well, Larry Tharp, he's out there. He's blocking here against John Randall. He just blocks right out of his shoes. Randall's taking the beltway. You see, and all you have to do is get a couple of hits on him, and you can run him right around your quarterback from that end position.
Like he just did.
Yeah, because, you know, Tharp didn't have to do too many things. All you needed was kind of one bump early and then one more push at the end, and John Randall will be behind your quarterback.
Here's Batch to throw it. He's going to take off again and again. This time he scrambles into Minnesota territory for another Detroit first down.
He was showing Orlando Thomas the ball. You watch him here. He's looking downfield, and then he sees this lane is so open right here. Now, you can run and still look to throw it until you get to the line of scrimmage. And I think Charlie Batch did that. And then, heck, I might as well go and get a first down. Kept going for 17 yards.
12 minutes left to play. 26-6. Need to make something happen in a hurry. Incomplete, almost intercepted by Jimmy Hitchcock.
Jimmy Hitchcock had a freak injury last week, didn't he? He had a play and hurt that right finger. In fact, you can see it right here, and darn near severed the finger. Didn't even know it until he took his glove off. They weren't sure what. In fact, he practiced a couple of days this week with a boxing glove on that right hand.
Didn't know it till he looked down, saw the blood on the glove.
And then you still don't know what happens until you take off the glove, and then you look at it, it's not all there yet.
Barry Sanders. Wrapped up from behind by Jimmy Hitchcock. Got a few yards. Barry saying he wrapped him up by grabbing his face mask.
Yeah, I think that's what he felt right at the end, that someone grabbed his face mask. Was either Hitchcock or the other guy in on that tackle was John Randall. See, because you see right at the end, you see that's what Barry Sanders was complaining about right there.
Yeah.
And he's right. I mean, because Barry Sanders is not a guy that complains about anything. And when he does say something, there has to be something there.
Batch. Moore made the catch, lost the ball, but got it back.
I was just going to say before that play that Herman Moore hadn't had a catch since he dropped that ball. We talked about Herman Moore, how he wants, when he catches a ball, to keep his thumbs together. So on a low ball, he will go down. You see, he goes down to one knee so that he can keep those thumbs together. Now, what Minnesota's trying to say was that he didn't have control, because he did have control of it. That's control. Yeah. Then it's a fumble. Then he recovered the fumble is what the ruling is.
Fourth down, about 5, and they're going for it. 11:21 left to play. The Lions, big down coming up. And Batch goes back to throw it. And throws it to Herman Moore, who, again, makes that low catch.
Yeah, that one before, they did say it was incomplete. Yeah. I think that was a complete pass that he fumbled, but they ruled it incomplete. And then fourth down, they come right back, and they're going to go to Herman Moore again. You see, Herman Moore is the outside receiver. He's going to come back, know where the first down is, And that one he caught with his little fingers together. You see, he couldn't get down low enough to get his thumbs together.
There has to be a point where you can't get down
and
low enough.
And that's the point. I think when you're taking it off the ground, you have to put your little fingers together.
Here's Batch to throw a screen past Sanders, and the Vikings are all over it.
It was Tony Williams. He played, sometimes you will do what you call spy your tackle, and you will let your tackle have that screen. And I think that's what Williams did on that play, because he's not going to rush. Now watch Tony Williams. He's right here. I think you'll get the feeling that he feels right now, he feels it's a screen. And you see what he did? He stopped his rush and went over there.
He was double teamed, but he felt it. Here's Batch. He's going to take off again. Dives inside the 30, about the 29. Short of a first down.
I think that the Lions are feeling desperate now, and knowing that that they're at a point that they if they're going to have a chance here, they have to get a score now, and then build off of that. But they can't be shut out on this drive.
3rd and 5. Just over 9.5 minutes left to play. Something's got to happen on the scoreboard for Detroit. Batch. Won't make it happen like that.
Now, that was a bad throw. He was off balance. He didn't have his feet in the proper position. That was reverting to a long time ago in his career. This has to be a tough thing for Bobby Ross, because, as you say, it was a tough decision to bench Scott Mitchell than to go with Charlie Batch. And then once you do that, you don't want to give up in your season. It's only the 3rd game, but you commit to it, and then how long do you stay with Charlie Batch? What's the next thing you do?
It's very hard not to be stubborn. You say, I made that choice, now I'm going to stick with it. I've got to stick with it. But you don't have to. Here's Batch. And he's going to get that first down inside the 20.
That's been here in the 4th quarter. That's been their most successful offense, is Charlie Batch going back to pass and then seeing a lane and just running straight up the middle. But that's not going to make a living in the National Football League.
Now once you start committing to running and make the passing secondary, then you got problems.
Yeah, and you notice the other thing about Charlie Batch, he's tired. He looks like a fighter in the 12th round of a 12-round fight.
Out of bounds is Morton at about the 8.
You can see he is really tired. He was a third. I mean, he wasn't even the backup, but as a third quarterback, you don't get a. He threw that ball to Johnny Morton just right out of his break too. And watch what happens after he throws a whap. He takes one right in the chops.
That helps make you tired.
I think the other thing that helps make you tired is running and then going head first in the ends of those runs.
At the 7. At the 2 is Herman Moore. 1st and goal there. I beg your pardon, not 1st and goal, 2nd goal.
I'm really impressed with this Dwayne Rudd. I mean, this whole Minnesota Viking linebackers, but Rudd just seems to be all over the place. And on pass defense, he's either knocking balls down, he's stripping balls. Watch him right here to stop. Watch Rudd come in here right at the end of that play to stop Herman Moore from scoring a touchdown.
That's throwing the body in there, isn't it?
Throwing the body in there and redirecting the guy with the ball.
Here's Batch. Out of the end zone in the direction of Herman Moore. Too high for Herman, who's about 6'5".
That's the old deal. You can never throw it too high for him. Well, you can then. I mean, and I don't think Charlie Batch was trying to throw it to him. I think he saw double coverage over there. Herman Moore covered, and I think he just threw that one away.
Hitchcock.
That old cameraman.
Yeah.
He had to protect his equipment as he went down.
Got 2 cameras. Hard to fall with 2 cameras. Handoff is to Sanders, and he won't get in. Knocked backwards. Lost yardage. Hit by Dwayne Rudd.
I I think this Minnesota defense has really risen to the occasion today, and I think that Dwayne Rudd is one of those guys that has helped it rise to the occasion. I mean, he's been all over. He just jackknifed right through there. You see, they had a blocker on him. They had an outside man in containment, and then he was the second man inside the containment, and he really hit that point.
So it's 4th and goal. They're going for it, obviously. And this is where a scrambling quarterback becomes more valuable. Back from behind. John Randall.
John Randall got there. It was just a matter of time. They've been playing him out there at that right end all day. He'd been close a few times, but they needed a big play here, and John Randall got it for him. Here's John Randall right here. Just runs right by Ray Roberts, starts outside, then comes inside. Herman Moore. And now we'll see, watch Herman Moore here, and we'll see why he can't hit him. You see, that's great defense. They stopped him on the cross, so he couldn't get in there, and just that time allowed John Randall to get to Charlie back.
First down, Vikings. Cunningham throws upfield to Glover. Glover will get him out of the shadow of their own goalpost after the 32-yard line. There's John Randall. Time to smile.
You know, he lives for the sacks, and you look, most of the time, again, he's been a tackle, but today he lined up for 55 plays at right end, 9 at left end, and only 4 plays at his normal tackle position.
1st and 10, Minnesota. They lead by 20. The handoff is to Robert Smith, and he gets a couple of yards. Today's game is being produced by Bob Stenner, directed by Sandy Grossman. The associate director is Mike Roig. Broadcast associates are Fran Morrison and Charles McDonald. The technical producer is Bob Muller. Studio was produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. The associate director was Jennifer Love. Senior producers Bill Brown. The executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. 2nd and 7. 3-wide receiver package for the Vikings on 2nd and 7. Moss comes back in motion. Moss incomplete. Covered by Westbrook.
You know, Randall Cunningham was saying yesterday that he didn't think that he could overthrow Randy Moss. He said that, you know, and Randy Moss said, I don't think that he can overthrow me. And on that play, he did overthrow him. I think Randy Moss was probably held up a little. I mean, he probably couldn't overthrow him if there was no defender there. But then you put a defender there who gets a bump on him, and then you can overthrow him.
Randall has got a shotgun for an arm, always has had. If anybody could do it, he could do it.
He has a shotgun for a leg, too. Remember that game we saw punt against the New York Giants?
Oh, yeah. Ball still rolling in the middle lane. Look out. Jake Reed, the target, trying to keep his feet in bounds. Couldn't accomplish that. Couldn't make the catch.
I'm sure that the defense is thinking now as John Randall gets up and gets that towel. Why in the heck didn't you run off a little more time off that clock? We've been playing like heck out there, and you know, just give us, when you have the game won like that, when it's 26-6 and you're within 6 minutes, you'd think you'd keep the clock going by keeping the ball in the ground a little more.
Harry Fair back deep. Mitch Berger to punt. Fair signal for fair catch. 26-6 with just over 5 minutes left at the Metrodome. Minnesota leads.
I always tell my clients, start with a joke.
And the squirrel said, I don't even like nuts.
See, it's about comedy, not content. You know, people think the Kinkos will help them stand out because they can do anything in color. Give them the full color polish. Whoopee. Color's not funny. Look, you are creating an indelible image in your prospect's mind.
Kinko's, great news for small business, bad news for Maury.
Lemmings. That's all they are. Lemmings.
People dress like that guy with the horn and and the thing and the hat and the paint and all that stuff to be noticed, or if they really are big fans and that's the way they feel.
I've been doing this a long time and I never figured that out. Bass ducks under, gets up to about the 21. Detroit this half has been averaging starting from their own 18-yard line. That's pretty tough.
Yeah, but the real story is those two turnovers were caused by the Viking defense.
Bass throws complete to Moore, but right there's Corey Fuller.
And all the talk before the game was about the quarterbacks and this guy and that guy, but really the big thing is how well this Viking defense played. And to me, if there's a group that won this game for the Vikings, it was their defense.
That's pump fake. Now he's going to take off, dive, and I believe we got another first down for Detroit. But that is not quite going to be enough.
No, but I mean, a guy like this guy here, I mean, he brings this thing here. I don't even know what that thing is. I mean, he brings that thing. Do you think he really likes that thing, or he just wants to get noticed?
I think he wants to get noticed.
Yeah, because he wouldn't carry that thing like to work with him.
He thinks the camera's coming close to it. Bass throws it to Morton. Steps out of bounds. Stops the clock.
And the thing about it, if he did that to get noticed, he got noticed.
The Minnesota cheesehead.
Yeah, I mean, you wear a cheesehead to a Viking game to get noticed, you will get noticed. You paint your face. What's that hat?
That's part of the Renaissance.
Oh, that's right. Is that a two? Is that a two?
Where?
On the face. We're number one?
I hope not. Now, he might have come over on the original ship.
I mean, how do they wake up in the morning and say, well, I don't know, I think I'll paint myself up today?
I think it all revolves around what happened last night. Barry Sanders contained again.
Again, we talked about this Minnesota Viking defense and, and how well they played in the turnovers, how well they played in the pass defense and the pass rush. But the big thing is the job of containing. You never stop Barry Sanders, but this is as close to stopping him as you can do. And that's just containing him, and they have really contained him.
Here's Bass. Under pressure. Yesterday, we spoke to Minnesota's John Randall about trying to contain Detroit running back Barry Sanders.
Play very, very cautious. You don't, when you attack Barry, you don't attack him out of position or out of control. Your body's under control. You kind of, you anticipate where he's going to be at, and you just try to make it like a textbook tackle.
Well, it's been a textbook defense today for the Vikings. Pass incomplete, intended for Morton. No flag, and the Vikings take over. 2:51 left on the game clock.
And now I know the defense, I know what they're thinking. They walk on the field and say, hey, guys, run a little time off this clock for us.
Don't throw it every down now. 26-6. Minnesota 26, Detroit 6. Minnesota first and 10 on the Detroit 39. A dejected Barry Sanders along with the rest of his teammates.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough start for the Lions. They're going to be 0-3 after today. The starting quarterback bench. You don't know what tomorrow heads for him.
Robert Smith. Trips out of bounds, picks up enough for a first down close to the Detroit 20.
Robert Smith is smiling there. He's saying, well, this has been tough running in there today. I mean, there hasn't been a heck of a lot of holes, and he's been trying to pound that inside, and there hasn't been anything there. You see he's had 15 rushes for 39 yards, and for a top rusher, this isn't a very good day, and a big part of it was that Detroit interior line of their defense.
Smith gets a rest. Leroy Horde's the deep back. He'll get the carry. Horde barrels down close to the 15. He scored the last Viking touchdown.
Horde's been a pretty effective runner. He's a guy that got the touchdown too. Look what their receivers did today. Their rookie, Randy Moss, 5 catches. Jake Reed, 3 catches. Chris Carter, only 3 catches. 1 touchdown. That was to Randy Moss. And again, I think part of that is the fact that Randall Cunningham is playing, and he feels more comfortable with Randy Moss than he does the other 2 starters.
Scott Mitchell. 2 tight ends set up, 2nd and short. Leroy Horde is the deep back. And Horde gets the carry. A little short of the first down, I think. Mark Carrier came from the outside. So 2 minutes left. 26-6, Minnesota. They'll be 3-0. Minnesota. This week on Fox Saturday Baseball, the regular season comes to an end as the Mets face the Braves, while Sammy Sosa and the Cubs will be in Houston, plus other action with playoff implications, as well as cut-ins for every Mark McGwire at bat. Coverage begins at 12:30 Eastern and Pacific on Fox. Check your local listings. 3rd and short. Cunningham to throw it. Passes. Should have been picked off by Westbrook, right in his hands. Here comes Gary Anderson again with the Viking field goal unit. 3rd and short.
Yeah.
Strange call.
Yeah, you would think so, especially with 1 minute 54 seconds where you want to keep your defense off the field, and you've been having some success running Leroy Horde inside. But he has so much confidence, I think, in Randy Moss now that he threw that one to him, and there were really 3 Detroit defenders around him.
Anderson, 35 yards, and good again. He's 5 out of 5 for today's work, and he hasn't missed this year. 29-6. Next week, it's a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. First, the NFC champion Packers head to Carolina to clash with the Panthers. Then it's a battle between 2 NFC Central rivals as these Vikings head to Chicago to take on the Bears or other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on Fox. Check your local listing.
And if Vikings keep playing like this, and if they can, keep their offense going and keep this defense playing the way they're playing today, they can make this an interesting division.
Coming up on our post-game report, J.B. Terry, Howie, and Chris will have a complete wrap-up of all the scores and highlights from around the league, and the Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second stats. That's all coming up next on the post-game report.
These guys can't be serious. I wonder where Denny Green's guys are. The guys from John Harris High School in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I wonder what they think of all these guys. They come up here from Harrisburg and see this going on.
None of them were painted, were they?
No, they weren't. They're all proud of Dennis Green. I'll say that. There they are.
They're not leaving.
No, they're relaxing, aren't they? I think a few of them could be sleeping.
Yep.
They're probably saying, hey, Dennis, when we come, we like to see you win, but make it a little closer.
Berger to Fair. Very Fair. Taken down at about the 24 by Chris Walsh.
It's going to be a tough thing, I think, for Detroit. Bobby Ross was talking about last week, about what he had to go back to, and then what he has to go back to tomorrow. I think it's even going to be tougher.
Gary Anderson currently is 2nd on the NFL's all-time scoring list. He has kicked in some tough places. This is not a tough place to kick.
No, because he kicked in Pittsburgh, and then he kicked in San Francisco, and you're talking about a tough place to kick.
Early back. To Herman Moore. Here's one of the keys and one of the things that turned the game around. David Palmer's punt return. John Jett saved the touchdown by slowing him down, but the Vikings went in after that. Here's Batch. To Morton. A minute 15 left now. First down for Detroit.
Because, you know, we were talking, you know, about Bobby Ross and what he does now. I mean, he made a commitment to Charlie Batch, the rookie, and I think he probably has to stay there. He starts 0-3, but on one hand, you say we made a commitment. We're going to go with the rookie quarterback, but we haven't given up on our season. And that's a tough thing because you're in a division with Minnesota, who's now 3-0. Green Bay is probably going to be 3-0. And you got a rookie quarterback that you made a commitment to.
The last time he changed quarterbacks in the middle of the year, he was with San Diego, the head coach of San Diego, and he changed from Bob Gagliano, who used to be with the Lions, to Stan Humphries. And 2 years later, they were in the Super Bowl. So
yeah, and that's not a that wasn't a bad change. And
but that wasn't a change to a rookie.
No, and there are people that saying that he probably should have changed from Scott Mitchell last year. I mean, there's a lot of people, a lot of Detroit fans who are really down on Scott Mitchell after that playoff loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And they got further down on Scott Mitchell after last week. Here's Batch going deep for Morton, and the pass is picked off by Corey Fuller.
Well, I think Corey Fuller got hurt on that play. In fact, I know he probably took a shot in the rib because there was no way. I don't even know that he's even been touched down yet. Because he could have got up and run with that ball, but I think he took a shot there. Here he is right here, and you see he has interception all the way. And right there, he takes the shot and goes down. And he didn't even try and get up and run. Watch, he just grabs that rib area. And he just catches the ball. And then I guess after he has the ball, he is down by contact, so he would be down there. But there was no way that he was going to try and return that one.
He's still hurting.
And that's one of those things that hurts every time you take a breath, every time you cough, every time you smile, every time you laugh.
And there's a lot to smile about now if you're a member of that Viking defensive unit or if you're a Viking.
Yep, the Vikings are just going to go to the kneel-down offense now.
Cunningham just says, let's run it out.
And Corey Fuller knows that he did his job, and he's just going in. He's going to have that rib taken a look at because that is a sore thing.
And that could be a lasting thing, too. Charlie Batch, 20 out of 40, 2 interceptions, 160 yards. A tough task for the Lions and for him,
Yeah, he was talking to Jim Zorn, his quarterback coach, and of course, as tough a day it is for the Detroit Lions, it's a big day for Denny Green, his buddies, his Minnesota Vikings.
And 3-0.
Yeah, how about his new owner, Red McComb?
Yeah.
Comes in here and says, heck, this NFL is pretty easy.
Yeah.
Big Red comes in.
Can't think that too long.
As long as he stays undefeated, he could think that.
Maybe buy another team.
Well, I think he already had another team in another league.
In basketball.
Hey, Randall Cunningham did his job. He came in and knew that it wasn't all on his shoulders, and you thought maybe a little more running game, not that, but the group that really took it off of his shoulders was that Minnesota Viking defense.
Well, Randall, twice he was the NFL Player of the Year. 3 times he went to the Pro Bowl. Final score here in Minnesota is the Vikings 29, the Lions 6. Coming up on the post-game report, we'll have a complete wrap-up of all the scores and highlights from around the league. And our Fox Sports ticker will have updated stats. That's all next on the post-game report.